Rain drums the windows of Pine Ridge Tavern while coats drip on the floor and a tired neon sign flickers. The room smells like wet wool and old wood as talk rises and falls in small pockets. Outside light stutters across glass and turns the storm into a moving wall. Inside, the crowd settles into that slow night rhythm that makes seconds feel heavy. Emma Lawson sits alone with her hood up, hands wrapped around a cold black coffee that will not warm her. Her back never touches the chair, and the seat is angled so the door sits inside the window's reflection. Her eyes track shapes without turning her head, and her grip lifts the cup with the same steady pace each time. The tells are quiet and precise, like a habit learned the hard way. At the bar, Chad Mercer, Kyle Torres, and Ryan Diesel Harrow get louder as the storm thins, and notice a small, angular memorial tattoo on her wrist. Their laughs start easy and turn sharp as the room begins to lean away from the noise. Bartender Mike Donnelly watches her hands, her feet, the angles she holds, and files the pattern where it matters. Emma keeps her voice level and says only, "Please don't do this," and the whole place goes still. The storm fades into a soft title card for military and veteran stories, and the sound stays low so the mood holds. If this kind of story matters to you, subscribe and tell us where you are watching from so we can grow a respectful community around real experience. We honor veterans and families by keeping details accurate, avoiding anything sensitive or classified, and focusing on the human truths that shape nights like this one. Settle in and let the story lead you forward. The tavern settles into a low hum after the storm, glass still beating with water and the neon light soft on the walls. In the far corner, Emma Lawson sits with her hood up and a cold black coffee resting between her hands. Her back stays clear of the chair as if the wood might ask for something she cannot give. The room moves around her while she keeps her own slow rhythm. Her feet are planted and the seat is turned just enough so the door lives inside the window reflection. She looks like she is staring at nothing, yet her eyes collect the room in small pieces. She scans hands rather than faces and lets a sound finish before she moves. The cup lifts the same careful way every time. The things that tell her story are quiet. The toe caps of her boots are worn to dull leather, and the edges show miles of ruck marches that never make it into conversations. She maps exits without turning her head, and keeps one hand free when someone passes too close. Bartender Mike Donnelly watches the posture, the footwork, the timing, and files those notes away while he wipes down a glass and pretends to be looking at a smudge. Payday has them loose at the bar while the storm fades into a wet blur behind the glass. Chad Mercer leans wide and fills space like he owns it, always checking that someone is watching. Kyle Torres rides the wake, pushing every joke a little farther to keep the laugh alive. Ryan Diesel Harrow laughs too hard and slaps the counter like that will make it funnier. Their noise swells without weight, and other conversations start to thin. Heads turn and then look away, as if drawn by a magnet they do not want to admit. The trio fishes for something new to poke, and their eyes snag on a small angular memorial tattoo near Emma Lawson's wrist when she lifts her cup. The moment hangs there while the floor hums with air vents and old neon. The first cracks are harmless on the surface and sound like teasing from a safe distance. The lines sharpen as they test how far the room will let them go, and the air tightens a notch. Emma stays still and silent, posture steady, hands calm, eyes on the reflection that holds the door. Bartender Mike Donnelly clocks the shift, notes the distance, the tone, the body angles, and files it under possible escalation if the next beat goes wrong. Emma watches the entrance through the window like it is a second set of eyes. The door sits inside the glass, and she lets it live there for now. She scans hands, not faces, taking in what they hold and where they rest. A 6 to 8 inch gap stays between her back and the chair. Her feet are planted and balanced under her hips and steady now. One heel touches the floor like an anchor. Her coffee sits in the left hand while the right stays free and warm. The cup rises and falls in the same measured tempo, a metronome that leaves her field of view clear when someone passes close. Kyle reaches toward the hood, careless and grinning. Emma meets the hand with a simple wrist control taught in the Army Combatives program. built from jiu-jitsu and judo. She sets the angle so the joint speaks first and the nerve path stings clean. Pain arrives like a short tap, and compliance follows. She releases before the moment grows teeth and resets her stance without flourish. No weapons appear. No one is dragged or shoved. Behind the bar, Mike Donnelly has his phone ready and his eyes on distance and exits. And the room understands that her control is skilled, minimal, and meant to keep everyone safe. The noise thins until the tavern sounds like rain and a tired neon hum. Conversations trail off on their own as bodies angle away from the trouble spot. Glass sweats and the windows blink with headlights. Space opens in a slow ripple that no one names. Mike Donnelly eases forward from the bar. Hands free and calm and steady. His eyes mark distances. Check exits. And count the people in harm tonight. He keeps the phone within easy reach and waits for a clear cue to act. His voice stays in his chest because the room already understands the stakes. Emma lifts her cup a notch, and the sleeve slides enough to show a thin, clean surgical scar near the small, angular memorial tattoo. She says this is the last time in a tone that is level and final, then sets the cup back down without a click. No weapons appear and no heroics follow. Only steady control and faces held in place. The bar waits inside a single held breath to see which way the night will move now. The door blows open and rain rides in on the draft as a tall man steps through with steady breath. He is Commander Jacob Hale of the U. It's Navy. An 05 from Naval Special Warfare with a SEAL background. Off duty, but carrying the kind of calm that changes air. Water beads on his jacket and drips to the floor while the hinge groans shut behind him. He does not hurry, and he does not posture. His eyes sweep the room the way trained leaders do in a civilian space. He checks exits, reads hands, measures distance, and lets the scan settle on Emma Lawson without a show. Chad Mercer shifts aside without knowing why, and Kyle Torres and Ryan Diesel Harrow lose the edge on their smirks. Behind the bar, Mike Donnelly is ready to call emergency services if the line gets crossed. Hale moves with purpose that never spikes the pulse and stops where his presence becomes the loudest thing in the room. He says, "Step away from her." Now, in a tone that tells the body to listen before the mind catches up. No shouting. No threats. No weapons. Only a line that closes the space like a door. The room falls still around the kind of authority that needs nothing added. And the storm outside sounds small compared to it. Silence settles after the command, and the room exhales like a tide pulling back from shore. Emma Lawson's hood slips just enough as she turns her head, and the small angular memorial tattoo catches the neon with a thin, clean scar nearby. Her shoulders set in a way that keeps balance without tension, and her hands move with careful economy as she eases the cup to the table. Nothing big happens yet, and that is what makes everyone lean in. Commander Jacob Hale watches the change the way a person reads weather on skin. Surprise touches his face first. Then it softens into respect that belongs to people who have lived through long nights. The trio at the bar feels the air tilt even if they do not know why, and their eyes drop without being told. No unit names pass between them, and no symbols are explained. Only a quiet recognition that rides the space like low current, while two lives meet in the open and say enough without words. Emma Lawson once wore the rank of Sergeant First Class. SFC. E7. U.S. Army. Jacob Hale wears Commander. 05. U. Superication. Navy. With a naval special warfare background that most people only read about. Tonight they are off duty in a public place with wet floors and tired neon. Rank on paper does not create a chain of command here. Hale reads the room like any trained officer who has learned to keep people safe without noise. He gives a half step of space as Emma rises. A small courtesy that carries more meaning than volume. She answers with a steady nod that says she understands him and does not need more words. The distance between them feels deliberate, respectful, and calm. The bar senses it, even if no one could label it. What matters is not stripes or devices, but years of doing hard work well. Their posture and timing say shared history without naming where or when. No unit names are spoken, and no classified identifiers are hinted. Hale does not try to command her. He does not give orders or expect them to be followed. His presence is moral authority, grounded in responsibility and care. Emma holds her lane with the confidence of an experienced NCO. And the room learns what real respect looks like by watching two people let it move without sound. The bar sits inside a thick quiet, and the neon hum grows round and steady. Commander Jacob Hale looks at Emma Lawson with a weight that feels like years pressed into a few slow breaths. His shoulders settle and his hands stay still on the edge of the moment. He says, "I thought you were gone," in a voice that lands low and even. Emma does not rush and does not flinch. She meets his eyes and lets the truth arrive without ceremony. She answers, "I was," and the room seems to tilt toward the words. Outside, the storm eases like a long-held breath finally let go. Bartender Mike Donnelly takes off his cap and holds it by the brim. He does not speak because the lines have already said what most of them never will. At the bar, the trio stares at their drinks and stops trying to be funny. The glasses sweat, and the ice settles, and no one moves their chair. Nothing classified is named, and nothing secret is hinted. It is a civilian room where respect decides to show up without being asked. The shift is simple and clean, and it travels across faces like dawn. Two short lines turn mockery into reverence, and the night finds its spine. Emma Lawson's small angular tattoo is a personal memorial, not a public unit mark. Responsible veterans protect sensitive information and avoid anything that could reveal classified identifiers. Symbols like this carry meaning for the wearer first, and they do not function as badges for others to decode. People who have served often recognize meaning through context and behavior, a posture that conserves motion, a habit of scanning hands before faces, or a quiet ritual, like how a cup is lifted, can speak volumes without saying a word. Shared service builds a language of small signals that does not need labels. The thin surgical scar near the tattoo hints at a past that required precision care. It suggests injury managed with skill and patience, then carried forward without display. None of this reveals where or when, and that privacy matters. This story honors that privacy and keeps the focus on the human truth behind the symbol. Respect does not depend on patch names or mission labels. It begins with the way we choose to treat one another when we know nothing at all. Emma sets the cup down without a clink and lets her hand fall to her side. She rises with calm control, shoulders level, weight centered, and her eyes keep the door inside the window reflection. Space remains between her and the chair, and the lane to the exit stays clear. The room watches the small geometry of a person who keeps sightlines as a habit, not a show. Commander Jacob Hale gives her room as if space itself is a courtesy ode. He shifts one step to open the path and does not touch her or lead her. The bar stays a civilian place where quiet choices matter more than noise. Behind the counter, Mike Donnelly keeps his phone close and his focus on distance and exits in case the night needs help. They step under the awning and stand in the rain-washed light of the lot. Hale asks if it ever gets quieter, and Emma answers that some days do. Not many. Water gathers at the edge of their boots while the storm softens to a steady hiss. The moment ends without resolution or grand gestures and feels truer for it. Two people who have seen hard nights choosing to let the silence speak. Rain hushes outside as the door swings shut behind them, and the room takes a breath it did not know it was holding. Commander Jacob Hale walks back in with water on his jacket and leaves a small trail on the wood. The neon hum grows round again, and the glass along the wall fogs at the edges. No one tries to fill the silence. Chad Mercer stands smaller than before and keeps his hands near his drink. Kyle Torres studies a wet ring on the bar and stops looking for a joke. Ryan Diesel Harrow holds a glass like it weighs more than it did 10 minutes ago. Mike Donnelly asks in a careful voice who she was. The words soft enough to be kind. Hale lets a beat pass before he answers. He says she carries more than most will ever know, and that people should treat others gently and leave it there. No missions named, and no hints to places that should stay off camera. The disappointment in his tone lands harder than anger, and settles over the trio until their shoulders drop and their faces drain. Chairs scrape once and then stop as the room resets around a softer kind of quiet. Someone wipes a table that is already clean. Mike sets his cap beside the register like a marker for the night they learned something the hard way. The storm outside thins to a steady hush, and the lesson stays. Real strength does not shout. It does not ask for a spotlight or a stage. It holds steady when rooms turn loud, and it keeps shape when nights push hard. It endures. And because it endures, it does not need to explain itself. That is what Emma Lawson brought to the corner table. She did not raise her voice or make a scene. She chose control, space, and silence. And those choices guided everyone else. Commander Jacob Hale matched her calm with presence instead of pressure. And a room that had been drifting toward mockery found its footing in respect. Many veterans carry heavy stories they never tell. The weight lives in small habits. The way a cup is lifted, the way a door is watched, the way a breath is counted when things get tight. You may not see it, but it is there, shaping how people move through the world. The right default is kindness. Honor the quiet ones. They have paid for that quiet with miles you will never see. Treat people well before you know their history and before you ask for their details. If this night means anything, let it be a reminder that gentle choices can turn a room and that respect can arrive without a sound. This story uses verified U.S. military details to honor accuracy and privacy. Emma Lawson is a former Sergeant First Class, SFC, E7, U.S. Army. Jacob Hale is a commander, 05, U.S. Navy, with a naval special warfare background. When the term Navy SEAL appears, it is written in all caps. They are in a civilian setting, so rank does not create a chain of command between them. Hale acts with moral authority and situational leadership rather than legal authority. That difference matters in public spaces where safety and respect come first. The scene reflects courtesy between services without formal command. Emma uses a simple wrist control from the Army Combatives program. The method draws on jiu-jitsu and judo principles. The aim in public is brief, compliance pain at the correct angle, no injury, and rapid release to de-escalate. Her movement is minimal and measured to lower risk for everyone nearby. The small angular tattoo is a personal memorial, not a public unit insignia or a classified identifier. Responsible veterans avoid revealing sensitive information. The thin surgical scar near the tattoo hints at a past that required precision care without naming where or when. Privacy is kept intact while meaning is respected. No weapons are displayed or handled in this scene. There is no misuse of firearm terms, such as clip versus magazine, because no firearms appear at all. Bar safety is realistic, with staff readiness to contact emergency services and preference for distance and clear verbal warnings. No unit names, missions, or sensitive tactics are mentioned. And joint respect between services is common in task force environments while details remain private. Think back to the night inside Pine Ridge Tavern and how the room changed when people slowed down and listened. First impressions can be loud and fast, but they are not always right. Take a breath and ask yourself how often you have filled in someone's story without knowing a thing about their miles. What did you miss because you looked away too soon? If you feel comfortable, share a moment when you misjudged someone and what opened your eyes. Leave a note of thanks to a veteran or a family member who carries quiet weight every day. Keep your comment kind and steady, and please avoid private or sensitive details. Let this be a place where grace gets more room than noise. If this story made you pause, pass it forward to someone who might need the reminder. Subscribe to hear more human moments told with care. Small choices can change a room. They can change us too. Build a high-contrast thumbnail with Emma Lawson in a hood on the left and Commander Jacob Hale on the right. Keep his eyes steady toward camera while rain streaks soften the background and add depth. Hint at the memorial tattoo with a partial glimpse on Emma's wrist, but do not show it fully. Use cool light on the rain and warm light on faces to pull focus. Use short-on-image text that reads on mobile. Options include seal silent or he froze or quiet turns a room. Keep font bold, clean, and centered in the safe area. Avoid any text that hints at units or missions. Write a compact description that sets the tone. A quiet night turns on 5 words, and a room learns respect. We honor veterans with accuracy and privacy and invite you to share where you are watching from. No mission details and no spoilers. No one is urged to intervene physically when a safer choice exists. Safety and respect come first for everyone involved. We do not share classified information, unit names, or mission details. Any symbols shown are personal memorials, not public insignia. Technical references are kept high level and non-instructional. The goal is awareness, not tactics. In public spaces, seek help from staff and contact emergency services when safety is at risk. Keep space. Use clear words, and step back when things turn tense. Veterans who need support should reach out to local resources or trusted community networks. When you share in the comments, protect privacy and get consent. Thank you for helping us keep this community respectful. Speak with care, listen with patience, and let small choices lower the temperature of a room. Kindness is not passive. It is a steady practice that keeps people safe. The parking lot glows under weak lights while rain draws soft lines across the asphalt. Emma Lawson walks without looking back, steps steady and unhurried, shoulders level against the night. Her hood gathers drops that fall in a slow rhythm. The hiss of water on pavement folds the scene into something small and private. Commander Jacob Hale stands under the awning for a single breath. He lets the moment settle like dust after a long drive. Then he turns inside with quiet shoulders and a clear face. The door closes behind him, and the rain takes the rest. At the bar, Chad Mercer leaves cash on the counter without a word and keeps moving. Kyle Torres studies the floor, as if it might answer a question he has not asked. Ryan Diesel Harrow holds a glass like a lifeline, and finally looks sober. Mike Donnelly sets his cap beside the register, and leaves it there as a marker no one needs explained. The room loosens a notch and finds a softer volume. Chairs scrape gently, and people breathe a little deeper. Nothing is announced, and nothing is solved. Yet something has shifted. Honor the quiet ones, and lead with kindness the next time a room feels loud. Thank you for spending this time with us. Keep the session going with the medic who stayed and the letter he never sent waiting on screen. If you want more stories told with care, tap subscribe so you do not miss the next one. Stay with us for a moment and choose the next chapter now. One line before you go: like, comment, and share if this helped you breathe a little easier tonight. If the story nudged you toward kindness, pass it forward to someone who might need it. The next videos are ready so you can keep watching without leaving this page.